Tonight, back to school. Anywhere they can fit you, any way you can.
The flood's cleaned up, but it's still really smelly and muddy.
Brave kids and dedicated teachers. The real class of 2011.
You know, we can teach in a tin shed if we have to.
Roads to nowhere. A look at what's likely to take a big bite out of the recovery. And retired one day, back in the saddle the next. Thousands joined Lance Armstrong's charity bike ride for the flood appeal.
This is the 10 Evening News with Bill McDonald.
Hello, great to have your company for the first edition of the Evening News. After the flood, we're all about getting back on track and putting the worst behind us. And there was no better place to see it this morning than St George. The school bus was replaced by the school boat. 20 had to get to school. That was because a bridge in the town is still cut off. And even though St George's is the inland fishing capital of Australia, many of the kids had never been in a boat before. They called it the St George City Cat. One more job for the SES, but this time a happy one. 92 state schools were damaged in the floods. All but 3 have reopened. Well, the death toll from the floods has risen to 22. 35 have been killed since the end of November. Those, of course, are the most important figures, but there are some others. It could be 2 years, for example, before Brisbane's city cats are back to the way they were. A 500-tonne crane is going to fish the terminals out of the river, a job that could take a fortnight and between $70 and $100 million. All of those are the amounts to be spent on city cats. Just imagine what will be needed elsewhere. A case in point, roads unloved, overlooked, but vital. And if the pictures we're about to show you are any indication, the repair job will be vast and expensive. The Prime Minister was back in Brisbane today, urging big business to do more for flood victims. Paul Bongiorno joins us from Canberra. Paul, is a levy or higher taxes still on the table?
Bill, there's absolutely no doubt that a levy is definitely on the table, probably along the lines of John Howard's guns buyback. And the Prime Minister says spending cuts that she acknowledges already won't be popular are also on the table.
The first poll done since the flood disaster shows Premier Anna Bligh has bounced back. The online poll taken early last week gives Premier Bligh a 79% approval rating for the way she handled the crisis. Not surprising. But she's overtaken by Lord Mayor Campbell Newman with a whopping 90% approval. Opposition leader John Paul Langbroek rates 24. Here's the interesting bit. When asked about general approval, Anna Bligh scores 38%, Mr Langbroek 27%. Following the floods, there is a cyclone lurking off the far north coast. Lee Brooks from the Weather Channel has been tracking it. And Lee, should we be worried about Cyclone Anthony?
Good evening, Bill. Certainly not in the short term. At this stage, he's a Category 1 system. He's moving away from the coast, currently located around 1,000 kilometres east of Townsville, and weakening, and is expected to have no impact on the Queensland coast in at least the next 12 to 24 hours.
Stay with us next. The Brisbane honour student accused of attacking a woman in the toilets of a Southside church. Police say they arrested him when he went back for his duct tape. And the government report into what happened in the Christmas Island boat tragedy. We're continuing 10's Evening News now. An award-winning Brisbane student has been arrested, accused of choking a woman in the toilets of his church. Police say they arrested Daniel Lowe when he returned to retrieve a balaclava and duct tape. Now let's check out the latest from the 7pm project.
Thanks, Bill. Tonight, the Oprah effect. What impact, if any, have her Aussie shows had on tourism, and can we expect thousands of Americans to flock to our shores? See you at 7.
Will do. Thank you, Charlie. Now, Jonathan Williams joins us fresh from Lance Armstrong's ride. What else is going on in sport?
Thanks, Billy. Plenty coming up, and great to see so many people out and about today. Australian skipper Michael Clark again under fire for his habits off the field. And one of the men's big guns knocked out on day 8 of the Australian Open. Welcome back. Unseeded Ukrainian Alexander Dolgopolov hopes to continue his giant killing run in the quarter-finals of the Australian Open when he meets Scot Andy Murray. The 22-year-old added 4th seed Robin Soderling to his list of scalps, eliminating the Swede in 5 sets, while Murray won in 3. And Billy, that's all in sport.
All right, we'll catch you again tomorrow. Thanks, Jono. Next, the clouds have parted, but how long will the muggy weather last? And here's a good story. The homeless woman going to great lengths to save treasured memories for flood victims. Welcome back. Well, after weeks of rotten weather, what do you know? For the school holidays, we get a pearler to go back. 29 degrees in Brisbane today, and as you've heard, the tip is Cyclone Anthony won't really pose a threat. There may be some strong winds later in the week. A warm day around the country tomorrow, though. 30 for Sydney, 29 degrees for Melbourne, and a scorching 36 for Adelaide. Around Queensland, rain in the far north. Longreach, a whopping 39 degrees. We'll have clear skies for the southeast corner tomorrow, a top of 30 for the Golden Sunshine Coast. A fine day on the cards for Brisbane and Ipswich as well. The blue skies, they're going to stick around for the rest of the week, and it should hit about 32 degrees on Australia Day. What else would you expect? Well, finally, one of the unsung heroes of our floods. Anna won't tell us her last name, but she and a band of volunteers have been saving people's muddied family photographs. So far, they've restored 3,000 of them, would you believe? Anna's homeless, but not because of the floods. Most of the time she lives in her car, but her skills as a photographer have been priceless.
That was really important to me. I mean, I was responsible for people's memories.
Frankly, we think Anna and people like her deserve a medal, but we need your help. So please send us an email if you know someone like that, and some pictures if you have them. Just email it to floodheroes@10.com.au. And I guess the least we can do is say thank you to them. There's so many. Well, that's it for us in the very first edition of our evening news. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what you think by dropping us an email at 10news@10.com.au. Once again, thanks very much for your company. Hope you can join us same time tomorrow. Good night.